Hey, thanks for joining us again here on Construction Tech Talk on IRONPROS. I'm here with Senior Product Manager Meena here from Toric, and I'll let you pronounce your last name.
Meena Abelkodoos.
Yeah. See, I'm from Milwaukee. I'm used to Harmonizes, Wittenbergs, Shazulskis, not a lot of vowels, but still, I know when I'm beat. So, I've been covering you guys here for a little while, so we're going to get caught up on what's new at Toric and delve into interoperability and features you have for that. So, what's new would you say, Meena, in the course of the last few months with Toric that I might not be too familiar with yet?
So really, we're just expanding on what's already great about Toric, where we're trying to bring in all of our customers' data into one place, and they can visually format. So that visual piece has just been improving. We're making it even easier to solve a very difficult problem. Data engineering is very difficult. It takes a very high degree of technical expertise to do these type of transformations, and we're trying to put it in the hands of more people by making it more visual. And we already had the great no-code nodes that you were able to do 100 plus transformations and a mapping method, and then we just introduced Flow Workspace, where you can now do it in a table and tabular format. So you still have that access to the same nodes or the same transformations, and you're doing it in a format that's more familiar to Excel users, but you're doing it in a modeling fashion, so it's still very powerful in terms of data engineering behind it, and you're able to do it very quickly and effectively, and it's building the node structure for you, the typical node structure you'd find in Toric, so that you can go back and forth between the two ways of formatting your data and create the pipelines visually with the nodes, or create them in a table format, which if the user is more comfortable. And this is going to allow multiple people to work within the same data flows in the format that they're more comfortable with.
Yeah, so what really impressed me when I first talked to Thiago about Toric was the fact that you can access data in multiple different applications, multiple different data structures, and then clean, scrub, and harmonize that into a common view, which it seems like that would be very useful within a construction contractor or owner organization where you might yourself be running multiple applications, but across a project team of generals, subs, owners, that's where it really seems like it would be fantastic to have. What type of level of effort and development investment does something like that even take?
Well, so it's a great question, because I came from Turner Construction before I came to Toric, and we were trying to solve this problem and gearing up to try to solve it internally. And we started scoping out what it would take just to build one pipeline from, say, our financial softwares. And it would take a pretty massive team of data engineers and data analysts to architect and build this pipeline manually and to do it in yourself format. And that's when I discovered Toric, and I realized, hey, we could do this globally with Toric, and we could do it on a project level at the same time. So you could be collecting information on your project, and at the same time piping that same information into a historical warehouse for your company, and all of that's being fed from the same source, the source where the information is being generated, that ERP software, the project management software, that BIM software, and it's all being fed from the same source, so all of it is the most up to date, all of it's the most true, and all of it's the same across the project teams, the organization, the subcontractors. Everybody's looking at the same thing, but in a format and in a way that they can digest. And that's why it's great that we have the analytics built in and not going out to things like Power BI or Tableau, because you can connect analytics directly to outputs from anywhere in the pipeline and see what your data is doing from any point. And that might matter to one person, it might not matter to the other person, so you can create those dashboards, and they almost become an afterthought, so that you can just create as many of those analytics as you need across all the different systems that you're tracking.
So something like Power BI would need like a standard integration to each package you want to use it with, right?
Right, and because Power BI is just a visualization tool, you would still need something like Power Query or something else to model the data. Or if you're going to try to do it within Power BI, it's very cumbersome, and it's really kind of one and done. And it's not, if there's something changes, it's really cumbersome to go back and try to change it inside that. Everybody tries to tell, even in my old company, people try to templatize Power BI, but it's very difficult to be able to plug and play that on another project if the format changes even a little bit. Whereas in Toric, your visualizations are being fed from your pipelines. So if something changes down the line, you could very easily create a different scenario for that information so that it can ingest that change without changing anything, without changing the entire pipeline, and then you'll be able to reuse that analytic tool.
Yeah. So right now, I mean, we're here at Advancing Pre-Construction, and I almost said Advancing Construction Analytics, it's where I first met you guys.
Yeah.
But with this crowd here, estimators, planners, directors of pre-construction, what types of use cases are you talking about with this bunch?
So, estimators have to commute with a lot of people in different departments and in different areas. So being able to receive that information the way they need to ingest it, and that's why you find estimators constantly in Excel. They always default back to Excel because they need to bring that information together very quickly because they have tight deadlines, and they need to do it in a way that they have full control over. So we give them that control, but the information being fed into those tables is being fed live. And when they're formatting it, they're not changing the source so that they're not changing it for everybody else using the information, but they're changing the view of that information for themselves, and then being able to create estimates that are scalable, and if there's a template that somebody likes, they can use it across different projects, and if it needs to be adjusted slightly, it can be adjusted, but those same sources can be live. So you don't have to constantly reinvent the wheel on every kind of abnormal project you might get, which nowadays is almost every project is completely different from project to project, even if it's the same hospitals or whatever same systems you're looking at. It really does allow you the flexibility and scalability, which is definitely a buzzword for a lot of larger GCs, because a lot of efforts into innovation go onto single use cases, and then it's very difficult to scale them. But Toric allows you to scale these different data initiatives across different departments, across different projects, and adjust slightly without having to pay somebody to hard code those changes into the schema.
Yeah. So if you were to walk into a group of pre-construction professionals and also project operations professionals, the folks who are managing projects, responsible for P&L, how do you tell them about how they can take that pre-construction data, that estimate, and then using Toric make it accessible during the work in progress phase of the project?
I think that is important, but I think the reverse is more important. So a lot of times estimators will tell you after GMP, after they guarantee the maximum price to the owner, estimators kind of take their hands off the wheel, tracking on what's going on with the finances of the project because of change orders, and things are moving so quickly, and it's very hard to track granularly to a line item degree what's going on as it relates to the estimate. But because you are handing over the estimate in this data format, and the project teams can pipe the information to themselves the way they need to ingest it, and also at the same time to these estimate to categorize it the way the estimate is being reflected. That means the estimators, when they go on to the next project, will have a more in-depth look at what actually happened on the project and how their estimates fared against actual conditions and what changed it, things that were in the GC's control, the things that are out of the GC's control, which makes for a much more informed conversation with the owner. When you do put the new estimate in front of them, there's much more data to back it up. It's not just assumptions or things that are happening. And when you have gaps in your design documents that you're getting, and you have to do conceptual estimates, which happens a lot because GCs are being pulled in earlier and earlier and earlier into the design process, you need more data. You need more data to kind of fill in the gaps of what you're not getting from the owner and their design team. So, it's really important that reverse is actually captured in this data process, because it makes the winning that project and creating a larger bottom line much more attainable in that sense.
Yeah, well, that's an excellent point, because you're round-tripping data to take project data from historical projects and use that to inform the estimate. I mean, that's a hot topic right now. I know Procore and other people are working at Earth to deliver that a little bit more consistently. But I really appreciate you taking the time to talk. Hey, if you like hearing from Toric, if you like hearing from the other companies that are taking new and exciting products to market in construction technology, keep on coming back here to IRONPROS. And we'll talk to you again very soon, sir.
Thanks.
Take care.
Yep.